No, there's no weakness at all. I think that, if anything, it might strengthen the defensive pack, the side up defensively in the pack anyway.
You watched the 3 tests against Great Britain, and Lindner was in outstanding form there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But I think that it's fair to say that there are a few players, Australian players, who've also been in outstanding form. Bobby Lindner, there's no doubt about it, he's been the man of the tour. But Gillespie's one, Mark Sargent's another, Greg Alexander's another, so I think they deserve their position.
Just watching the toss now, Entah on the left. Looks like he's won the toss. Yeah. And they'll swap ends. Let's quickly look at the French lineup and a couple of names that you at least know something of. Cyril Pons, you marked him?
That's right, yeah, and I also noticed Entah, he's captaining the side today. He'll have nightmares over Paul Sirenen in that game at Parkes, because Bob Fulton positioned him one off the ruck from all the kick-offs, and his aim was exclusively to run it at that little entente, so he'll be having nightmares today. And
a quick prediction, Michael, a score?
I think Australia will be too strong. I think probably around about the 40-point margin.
All right. No point going conservative. And if all's well, we can cross over to Warren Boland as Mal Meninga prepares to kick off for Australia. As yet from Warren. We know he's there. We've heard from him a little while earlier. We'll carry on without him. And first tackle's going in from the Australians. Gillespie featuring early, and winger there, Bouzet, number 5. Tackle just outside, he's 22. And the Australians come up with it through Gillespie. Elias, bit of an injury cloud about him, but he's obviously made the start okay. And an early penalty, it looks like, to the Australians. Referee is John Holdworth, who refereed the game between Australia and St Helens. He's the English referee. Came the Australians that day, 16-10. So the Australians straight off going for the tap. Roach taking it up, Elias. Gillespie, and the French falling off tackles already. That's not a good sign for them.
The Australians attacking just 15 metres out. The ball's been lost, though. Australia losing the ball. Plenty of pressure coming from Patrick Ontah on his opposite number, Ricky Stewart, and Stewart losing the ball. So this scrum to pack just 20 metres out at the Parc des Sports. And the scrum won by France as they move it out quickly across the backs. Joining in from fullback is Michel Roses. Quick play the ball, and the pass is almost intercepted by Mackay, but France continue taking play just outside the 22. An early penalty to Australia, but no points on the board. Now France trying to bring the ball forward through the big men, taking it up in a dummy half. Thierry Valero gets the pass away. Taking it out now is the lock forward, Jacques Moliner, 15 metres short of halfway. The ball lost, but diving on it quickly there was Thierry Valero. And that forces the scrum. So early on, the French forward showing they're quite prepared to take the Australians on. And with me today, Bob Lindner. Bob, what do you think? What was the feeling in the Australian camp? I guess in some ways the biggest danger is complacency.
Oh, well, Ron, that is a danger, all right. But I think you'll find that the Australians will just settle down and try and get their defence pattern working, and hope we frustrate the Frenchmen right from the very start.
Lions tackled right on halfway by Dennis Bienz. Now it's with Brad Mackay, just a couple of metres inside the French half. Elias at dummy half. Long ball from... now it's with Lyons getting it wide out to Meninga, who loses it backwards. They keep it going, but the referee has ruled the knock-on, is it? Yes, knock-on against Australia. The ball appeared to go backwards, but the referee from England, John Holdsworth, deciding that it did travel forward. Ricky Stewart getting it out to Cliff Lyons there as the Australians tried to move it wide. Now Ontah feeds a scrum. It's a French ball as they work the blind side, coming back from Molyneux to Ontah. Running from dummy half is Valero. Valero, the hooker. From the play, the ball. France inside the Australian half, but the ball lost, and Elias there to pick it out of the air. Midway between the quarter and halfway at Australia's end of the field as Steve Roach goes forward. Only about 5,000 or so here to watch this test match. We've had very cold conditions in Avignon the last couple of days, with the Mistral wind really cutting through everyone who's walked down the streets. Here's Sirenen, a big burst up the centre, crosses the halfway line, pulled down from behind by Valero. Now it's with Ricky Stewart out to Lyons, darting and weaving. Belcher stands in the tackle of David Frez. Frez usually plays fullback. He's a very tall man, playing 5/8 today. It's the 5th tackle. Laurie Daly with the kick. A good one away from the fullback, Michel Roses. And back towards the corner. Chasing back was Alain Bouzet, but he couldn't get there. And that kick from Laurie Daly really did take the bounce, Bob.
That's right, it was a great kick, and Australia are with the win today, or in the first half anyhow, so I think they'll be trying to do that majority of the first half and apply the pressure to the French down in the right end of the field.
France won the toss. You're surprised that they decided to run into the wind?
I am, actually. I thought at least in the first half, while they were fresh, they would have liked to have the wind with them, unless they know something that we don't. You know, but I doubt if this wind will drop. It's been blowing, like you said, for the last 3 days.
Maybe France believe they can come home strong. They're just 20 metres out from the line as the ball shot across field out to Daniel Divet, the former Manly player. And some clumsy football. The ball is lost there by Calvo. Calvo from the Toulouse club, and Australia in a good attacking position here as Mackay comes up with it. They move it quickly. Sirenen, Lyons, Daly onto Belcher. Belcher with the man outside him, throws the dummy, still trying to link up with Dale Shearer. Finally tackled just 9 metres short. Daly in a dummy half. Shearer. Shearer can't get the ball away as the French forwards surrounded him. The referee making sure the French backs stay onside. Elias, Sirenen. Sirenen looking to link up with Gillespie. Gillespie starting today in his 2nd test. Did come on for a few minutes in the 3rd test against England. They work the blind side. Lyons back inside to Daly. Daly bursting for the line. Can he get it down? And it's a no try. Referee Holsworth says Daly didn't get it down. It looked as if he had managed to get his arms free over the line, pulling through the tackle. The referee was in a good position in the in-goal area. And quickly the French back to the 22 for the tap. Must have been very close.
Looked like he got there to me.
Ontar at dummy half. Finds that he hasn't got a runner as he swiveled around towards this wide blind side. Sirenen all over the man, Ontar, and the penalty goes against Australia. Referee Holsworth wanting Sirenen to clear away from the ruck. We've got bright sunshine here today, but don't let that fool you. It's about 5 degrees, and the Australians done very little training in the lead up to this game. Only 1 or 2 runs this week because they've had a lot of travelling, and also the cold weather and a few injuries have disrupted things. So Ontar takes the tap. Frez, out it goes through the centres. And a good burst there by France, but the ball's been lost. Daly gets it wide to Shearer with some room to move. He tries to stand up Bouzet. Bouzet comes again at him, holds on, 12 metres inside French territory. And now another penalty, this time against the Frenchman for laying all over the tackle player. Bouzet in there was one of the offenders, and so Elias will look for touch. And finds it just inside the 22, or on the 22. And Elias, who's playing with a damaged rib cartilage and no doubt went into the game with painkillers, was only a late decision from Ben Elias that he would play. Lyons, Mackay trying to find a hole through the forwards. 20 metres out. They work the moves. Back through the middle comes Mal Meninga, but Meninga held on to by Roses. Elias, Stewart, dummy from Elias, tries to duck under Frez, but he holds on. Only 15 metres out. Australia right on the attack with Roach. Back inside to Sirenen. Sirenen charging through, just half a metre short. It's the 5th tackle. Elias a dummy half. Spins it out to Stewart. Long ball from Stewart. Beautiful hands from Meninga over the top. Daly with Shearer outside him. Daly still going. Back inside to Lyons. Has plenty of support. Elias is there. Flicks it out the back. It's the last tackle as they keep it alive. Magnificent hands out to Eddinghausen. Eddinghausen for the corner. What a try by Australia. They took it one way to the blind side. Kept it alive on the 5th tackle. There must have been 12 or 13 hands involved, sets of hands involved in that try, and finally Andrew Eddinghausen bursting away in the corner. Here's the replay. Good hands from Australia.
Terrific stuff. Ricky Stewart just flicks it out, and Laz knows there's only one pass to go, and ET is unmarked, and the corner's open for him.
Cyril Pons came in off his wing to try and trap the ball. One pass short of Eddinghausen, but Andrew Eddinghausen, who's just having a magnificent tour, has scored so many tries right throughout the tour. In fact, that's 12 tries now for Eddinghausen in 10 games.
Well, the French defence just failed to move up there and allowed the Australians to keep the ball alive. They've got to come forward and try and at least make an attempt to make a ball or tackle somewhere along the line.
Yes, they just failed to finish them off, and that's exactly what Australia like to do. Now, here's Mal Meninga. Very wide, this attempt, but it looks pretty good off the boots. Coming around, and the flags are up. Well, Meninga will gain in confidence because he hasn't had a good record with the boot. Has kicked 15 goals from 34 attempts on this tour, but that was a good one from out wide. Read the breeze well. So it's Australia 6, France 0, and we've had 9.5 minutes of play in this first test at Avignon. The French had shown plenty of enthusiasm in their early work, but just unable to contain Australia there. So back to the halfway line. And Fraze, David Fraze with the kick. Allowed to bounce before Mackay got to it. Midway between the quarter and halfway. Elias goes across field. Lazarus slips under a highish tackle from Moliner. Stewart calling the shots with Sirinen. Over the top it goes to Daly. Daly's off. Chased by Roses. Uze trying to cover Shearer, and a good tackle by Michel Roses. Lyons, Roach. Just inside the French half. Australia running with the breeze as Elias takes off down the blind side. No sign that Ben Elias is going to hold himself back today. Stewart, Lyons, and Lyons puts it up with the breeze behind it. Plenty of pressure back there for Roses, and he takes it well. Good take 9 metres out from his own line as he comes back and runs into Elias and Lazarus over the top. Valero, still going as Valero. Bob, it seems to me early in the game that Laurie Daly's looking very sharp today.
Yeah, he is. Laurie's been unfortunate throughout this tour to carry a few injuries with him, and to his credit, he's been fit for the test matches and the important games, and you know he hopefully is getting over those injuries and might put it all together today.
Going across field, the centre Serge Brett, but it looked as if it was a Shepherd, and referee Holdsworth has seen it that way. Brett going across field, running behind his man on the angle, and so here's a chance for Meninga, but he's not going to take it. Meninga could have thrown that one over. It was back on the 22, only 10 metres to the right of the post, but it seems as if the Australians want tries. And with the breeze behind them, they know that they do need to go in with a handy half-time lead. Still, that gives you an indication of Australia's confidence in this match. Not taking the two. Here's Lazarus trying to struggle straight through the tackle of his opposite number, Serge Tito. Only 5 metres out, Elias works the blind. Beautiful hands there from Belcher to pull it in. Sirinen for the line. Pons can't tackle him. Great try to Paul Sirinen. Sirinen's been working inside and outside the halfback Ricky Stewart. That time he came down the blind side, and a fine try from the strong Paul Sirinen, and Australia lead by 10 points to 0. Getting down that blind side, taking advantage of the penalty. Mal Meninga made the right decision.
We've just failed to miss Gary Belcher pick up a low ball there. He did it magnificently, and Ciro just had to use his weight and strength and fall over the line. That was a set play from a tap, and so far the play's been down the French end of the field, and they're having a lot of trouble getting it past halfway, aren't they?
Yes, and making that fairly basic error, the centre, Brett conceding the penalty, and that gave the Australians the chance, only 20 metres out. And as you say, the set play worked very neatly, but it all came together thanks to Gary Belcher's fine hands, picked it up from his bootlaces. Now Mal Meninga will walk over the top of the sand, step back over the sand where he had the previous kick place, so this is a little easier. He puts it out to the left, hooking it back with the breeze, but it's just given a little too much width by Meninga. So the score remains Australia 10, the locals, as the scoreboard says, 0. And that's after 13 minutes of play, and the signs are ominous, Bob.
Yeah, the French just aren't moving up on the blind side, and so far we've seen a number of breaks and plenty of yards been made on that blind side. So unless they correct that pretty quickly, it'll be in all sorts of trouble.
Bob Lindner joining us today in commentary. Unfortunately, Bob had to pull out yesterday with a thigh muscle injury. How long will it take to get right?
Well, I hope I'll be right by next weekend, Warren, but it's one of those things where you just have to wait and see how treatment goes with it.
Knock on by Ricky Stewart. Bad mistake, really, off the kick-off. So here is a chance for France with the scrum feed. Molinaire from the scrum base, but the Australians, Gillespie and Mackay, breaking quickly, wrapped him up. From the play, the ball on Tar. Frez gets it out to his centre, Brett, and Brett's made a mess of it. In fact, that was Dennis Bienz. Bienz knocking on the pass, which really wasn't a difficult one. I suspect he was starting to have a look. He'd know that Mal Meninga and Laurie Daly weren't far away. The scrum screwing around, packing 30 metres out from the Australian line. Stewart has it. The halfback on Tar getting around very quickly on him. Mackay. Brad Mackay, who told me yesterday that he's really enjoying being in France. Ben Elias runs dummies through. Elias downfield. Roses comes at him and makes a good tackle. Ben Elias, so clever from the dummy half position, but now the ball has been lost in the tackle, and referee Holdsworth is going to pack the scrum. Well, Elias will enjoy that. It's the first real dummy he's tried today, and so often the defence in the past has been able to be cracked by Elias, but back in Sydney football towards the end of last season, everyone was awake to him and they weren't falling for the dummy. Maybe the French will give him some latitude today. Here's Bienz. Not a lot of combination between the two centres that time as Brett was coming inside him, but mistimed his run. Crossfield goes second rower, Daniel Verdez. 10 metres short of halfway. On task, slipping it away to the front rower, Tieto. On task, switches play. Frez tries to straighten it up. Can't get away from the tackle of Lazarus. Australia leading 10-0 after 15 minutes. More heavy defence comes in from Gillespie. A little too high, says referee Holdsworth. Elias in there as well, but against Gillespie, the tackle there on Jacques Molinaire didn't appear to be all that high, but the referee is going to keep things legal right throughout this match by the look of it. Long pass from the tap. Frez on the halfway. Bienz taken in a good tackle by Cement Gillespie. Must have been very pleased when you pulled out yesterday, Bob. David Gillespie.
Yeah, I guess so, but I'm glad it's gone. The position's gone to another Maggie.
Yes, David Gillespie playing with West next year. Here's Brett across field, taken by Cliff Lyons. From dummy half, second rower, Daniel Dive. Crawling. Some determination at least to get the yardage from Dive. On the blind side, on Tar. Kicks ahead, but well positioned as Belcher. Straight to him. And Belcher down on the 22. Patrick Ontard working the plays around the ruck for France. He is playing with the English club side Hull, and they are leading the first division at the present time, so he can hold his position in any company. Roach gets it away to Mackay. Good tackle, collars him. That was Frez. Elias, Sirinen. Sirinen getting very involved around the rucks, driving his way forward. Gillespie slips it back. Belcher picks it up. It's play on. And it's the fifth tackle now, 5 metres short of halfway. The French creeping up, and the referee awards the penalty to Australia. They were certainly in front of the referee. It was just a question of whether or not he was going to let them go. One of the offenders was the second rower, Daniel Verde, and also Ontard creeping up. Meninga looks for touch and finds it 24 metres out. Down in back play is Ricky Stewart getting some attention as the Australians take the tap. Gillespie straightens it up. Into the red zone, as Bobby Fulton calls it, 15 metres out. Across goes Elias, but he loses it. That was a good tackle, a heavy tackle from the big front rower, Serge Tito. Jolted the ball loose. And now the penalty goes to France.
Looks like he's hurt himself in that tackle too, though.
It's a heavy tackle from Glenn Lazarus. And down, feeling the effects of it is, I think it may be the front rower, Calvo.
Ricky Stewart's off, Warren, and Greg Alexander's coming on.
Well, in this style of a game, we could really see some entertaining football from Alexander. There's no doubting Ricky Stewart's ability, particularly with the boot, but if this game develops into a free-flowing game, well, anything could happen with Greg Alexander on the field. So Stewart off, Alexander on, and Alexander will finally get his chance at halfback. Hasn't played a game at halfback on the tour. Good move, hit work with Ontar. Out it goes. Bienz loses it backward. Pons has it. He's held by Eddinghausen. Second rower, Valero. I should say hooker Valero, down on the 22. Has a look at Steve Roach as he got up. The Australian defence very, very solid. Roach in there to make another tackle. Calvo. 25 metres out. Long ball. Out to Pons. Took it well. Pons decides to kick ahead, but that's come off the inside of his boot. They're coming through as Frez, and Frez almost gets it, but now it's with Lyons. Out to Belcher. Daly has room. Tries to get on the outside of Brett. Back inside is Shearer. Shearer's rounded up, though, just when it looked as if Australia would quickly turn defence into attack. 5 metres inside the French half. Lyons, Sirenen. Sirener's held, but pulls 2 men into him. Roach. Roach pushes one tackler off. That was the centre, Bienz. Alexander, Lyons. Long floating ball for Daly. Belcher running off him beautifully. Back inside is Shearer, dancing over the top of the tackle. He's pulled down 35 metres out. Australia leading 10-0.
It was a great ball by Daly just a minute ago.
Meninga. Meninga held by one leg. Bounces to his feet, still going as Mal Meninga. Eddinghausen pulls it in. Great hands from Eddinghausen. Has Shearer inside. One winger to the other, and Shearer scores the try. Give the lead-up work to Mal Meninga, who pulled out of a tackle, got back to his feet, continued on his way, and then unselfish play by Eddinghausen, who may have been able to go all the way, but decided to line up Shearer on the inside. Beautiful football.
Yeah, sure was. We're not getting much on the replay here, but just before that we saw some fantastic hands from Mal Meninga and Andrew Eddinghausen and Laurie Daly, which led to this.
Meninga had a little bit of room to move, but a French player, Divey, almost got him down, but he pulled out of that tackle. They were virtually stationary, pulled away, and on he went. So Dale Shearer scoring for Australia, who lead 14-0. Meninga has 1 from 2. This is the easiest. Each of the kicks is getting a little closer to the posts. And in fact, he hasn't brought this one very far back. This is only 18 metres out, 15 metres to the right of the uprights. The breeze blowing from behind Mal Meninga. Oh, poor kick this time. Way off beam, right from his toe. And after that first kick looked so good from the boot, Mal Meninga's going backwards. But Australia lead 14 points to 0. And the same as the situation in Parkes. They may not need goal kicks today. Winning in Parkes by 34-2, thanks to 8 tries and 1 goal. So after 22 minutes play, Australia right on top, 14 points to 0. And Bob, it really is a matter of just keeping the ball alive.
Yeah, controlling it for a start, and then eventually that you'll find the gaps, particularly if you put on a bit of skill around the ruck and then shoot it out wide. The gaps are everywhere.
Roach standing on the blind side. He calls for it and gets it. Gillespie's there too. Roach halfway through the tackle. Back inside to Elias. Elias to the halfway line. Looking ominous down that blind side once more was Roach. Lazarus straight ahead. Great run, Glenn Lazarus. Picking up the metres. 12 metres at least with that run. He goes again now. Out the back to Elias. Elias, with that dummy not taken by Bienz. Slowly to his feet. In fact, it was Molyneux making the tackle. Alexander loses it backwards. And the referee calls that a knock-on. Well, Alexander was even facing his own goal line.
He called the knock-on, a knock-back, and a knock-back, and knock-on.
When we look back through the statistics of tours in France, And Wayne Hemming from AAP giving me a few of the details before the game. The Australians versus France in France. They've played 27 tests. Australia's won 19 and France have won 7. But back in 1978-79 with Bob Fulton as captain, Australia lost the series. They lost 2 tests against France in that series back in 1978. So Bob Fulton, the coach today, will be looking to get some revenge. It also was pointed out that I think it was after the 78-79 series that it became a situation of neutral referees in test matches, that up till then it was French referees in French test matches. And I suppose it was Australian referees in Australia. 25 metres out, Valero plays it back. Dive. Penalty going to France against... In fact, it was a changeover, I'm sorry. Alexander quickly sends it out to Lyons. Belcher's there. Belcher just grabbed from behind by Frez, who covered across well. Belcher struggling to play it quickly. Lyons slows it up. Now he turns it on. Out it goes to Gillespie. But the runners weren't quite there for Cliff Lyons out wide as he wanted them. Roach. Alexander. Out it goes to Meninga. Meninga tries to pull out of the tackle once more of Bienz. On the 22. Eddinghausen. Eddinghausen goes himself. Can't get away from Calvo. In centre field. Sirinen. Sirinen takes it. Power of stopping. It's the 5th tackle. Australians well positioned to launch on either side. Lyons comes across field. Inside is Alexander. Changes direction. It's the last tackle. Flicks it out to Belcher. Belcher slips it underneath himself, really, but he was facing the wrong direction, trying to get the pass away. He knew it was the last tackle, and France come up with it. There seemed to be a little bit of lack of organisation in the Australians to use that 5th tackle. They're so intent on throwing the ball around that they didn't take the kick option. The front rowers working together now as Tito hands it to Valero. 25 metres out from the French line. Australia leading 14-0 after 25 minutes. Here's a good work by the second row. Gets it out to Frez. Frez shows good speed. Belcher comes at him. Doesn't quite hang on, but Belcher made the tackle. Good break started there by Daniel Verde, the second rower. On tar. Out it goes to Valero. The French on the attack now. Good raid. Just 24 metres out is the 5th tackle. They work at the blind side. Molinaire. Out to Brett, who puts a useful kick in. Belcher gets to it just before the sideline, and a good tackle from Alain Bouzère. Traps Gary Belcher, so the most promising football from the French yet.
That was good work. They've taken the ball right up the field against the wind, and now have Australia trapped in a pretty good position for them.
Virtually the first time that the Australians have been in this position, only 15 metres out from their own line. Roach gets it away to Lyons. Lyons slips a magnificent ball to Meninga. Great football, Lyons. Now here's Mal Meninga. Has Eddinghausen outside him. Throws the dummy inside as Alexander. Alexander chased by Pons. Uses Belcher. Back to Alexander. And you just can't stop Greg Alexander scoring tries. 5 tries this week against France B. Now his first today against the French A team, the test team. And Greg Alexander has now scored 9 tries in his last 5 games. Started the tour relatively quietly, but there's just no stopping him now. This was mainly a matter of backing up, though. Meninga started it all after that superb pass from Cliffy Lyons, but they carried it on.
Yeah, we just saw that last pass there. There were 5 or 6 Australians in support, and the winger Poms had to deal with them all, and he was no chance to do that. We saw the French do some good work to get up the right end of the field, and fortunately for Australia, they couldn't hold us as soon as the ball went out wide, and there we go again, another try.
Yes, great backing up from the Australians, but all started with that magnificent pass from Cliff Lyons. He was held by 2 men and somehow slipped his hand free underneath to Meninga.
Yeah, it's trouble from there on.
So Greg Alexander's taking over the kicking from Mal Meninga, and this is a very easy one. Meninga may have been tempted to have one more. It's right between the posts. Alexander kicked 13 goals from 13 attempts against France B. So he is hot at the moment, Greg Alexander, and Australia lead by 20 points to 0. Very important game for Greg Alexander, this, because getting the chance so early in the test to play halfback under coach Bobby Fulton. Very important game for Greg Alexander to have a good one.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be pleased to have the chance to play there. You know, Greg's played tremendous football the whole tour, and I think now he feels just as comfortable at the fullback role as he does in the halfback position, but I think he'd be pleased to get a fair run today.
He did say that Bob Fulton had told him he is putting some pressure on Gary Belcher, and even though, of course, it's different, as we know, the Australians basically have an A side and a B side going around at the moment, and particularly in England, the B side was set against some of the easier teams, so it's maybe a little hard to make the comparison, but Alexander is playing brilliantly, and Gary Belcher also. Here's Daly. Daly bursting upfield, gets to the halfway line. Alexander. Gillespie. Gillespie away from one, showing some mobility there was David Gillespie. Lazarus loses it. A little bit of a misunderstanding. Lazarus didn't appear to be expecting it, and the French in possession now, just 5 metres short of halfway. Valero trying to get involved in the play. Ontar hands off to Calvo. Calvo taken low by Mackay. They switch it. Fraze, Molinaire, Viennes, and the ball goes through the arms of Roses. Pons can't handle. Picked up by Verde. I should say Dive it was, but the referee rules the knock-on. Australia 20, France 0, 10 minutes remaining till half-time.
Well, I think there's only been one occasion where the French have actually controlled the ball for 6 tackles, so unless they improve that area, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Lyons, Belcher, Daly. Daly has plenty of room to move. Belcher held 10 metres inside French territory. Australia threatening to cut loose here before half-time as Daly's kick rebounds and it's play on. Alexander, Elias swiveling. Elias takes off. Still going as Elias. It's the 5th tackle, or is it, I should say it's 5 more tackles. I think the referee is signalling 6 more tackles as it goes to Roach. Good ball away to Belcher. Elias and Alexander down 30 metres out. Lyons again. Mackay on the burst. Lyons once more. Good football. Gillespie. Lyons is using some magical passes. Roach taken high by Ontar, but he stopped the ball. Steve Roach probably won't like it. He throws a half-hearted punch at Dive, but he had the wrong man. It was Ontar. Now it's with Lyons. Alexander, Meninga, Belcher for the corner. Belcher can't get there himself. And in fact, the Australians murdered it in the end. Belcher thought he could go all the way, and Belcher has been hurt in the tackle. Belcher just seemed to lose his position on the field, thought that he could get to the line, and then really they probably butchered a try there.
Yeah, I think so. It was a shame there was no one inside Gary when he turned round, but, you know, the Australians are just, well, it appears to me as if they can get the ball out, you know, there's always a chance of a try on because there's 3 or 4 Frenchmen running in on the one attacker, and no, that sort of thing can't happen without gaps carrying out wide.
Dennis Bien's pulled down 10 metres out. Ontar shows the little dummy, but no one took it. Sirinen, Elias weren't fooled. Penalty against Glenn Lazarus, moving up inside the 5 too early before the ball was played, and a chance for France to work play back towards the halfway. Australia 20, France 0, and a very poor attempt at finding touch. And Australia make a mess of it too, and almost racing downfield, looking to go the length of the field was Serge Brett from Catalan. Some sloppy play. Australia almost caught by surprise by the poor kick for touch. So this scrum packing right on the halfway line. Scrum fed by Ontar, and he switches it back to the blind. Roses joining in. There's Brett. Brett trying to link up with Bouzier. Bouzier showing a bit of strength to try and pull away from the tackle. Molinaire trapped, and not just trapped, stung in that tackle by Lazarus. Ontar works the blind. He's a busy player. On it goes to Bouzer. Bouzer away. Alexander comes again. Showing some pace off the mark was Alain Bouzer. Ontar. Brett. Frez. Bien's out wide, but he runs into Mackay. Spinning around. Still only 35 metres out with Valero. Valero, good little dummy, which drew Siren onto the support runner, but Gillespie was inside to make the tackle. Ontar. Ontar, good ball away. Over the top it goes, but Meninga comes up with it. Ball lost by France. It was Verde trying to get an opportunistic ball away. Sirenen. Alexander, long ball for Lions. Lions inside Meninga. Meninga, Belcher. Belcher straightens it up. Alexander's there. Alexander could go all the way. Turns on the pace. Alexander sprints away for his second try of the match. Sheer pace after the good work inside by Mal Meninga. Showed the ball on the outside. Sized up the situation and found the supports.
Yeah, pretty basic stuff, really. It just went out the backs, and Mal turned Gary Belcher back in, and once he gave it to Greg Alexander, there was no one in front of him. There's no way there wasn't going to be a try.
Fraze giving chase. David Fraze, the 5'8". Roses gave up. He realised he couldn't match Alexander, but Alexander cantering away right between the posts, and he'll get the chance to attempt the conversion of his own try from an easy position. Australia 24, France 0 now. So predictions from before the game of 40, 50, 60-point victory from Australia aren't beyond the realms of possibility now, though France will have the win in the second half. Here's Alexander racing in for the try. And he's making a habit of this lately, Greg Alexander. That makes 11 tries for him on tour. And the 2 points added. And Australia now 26, France 0 with 4 minutes remaining till half-time. So Australia just really have to keep their mind on it, Bob. We saw the Australian B team learn a lesson during the week from the President's 13 game to the France B game of maintaining that control before they cut loose.
That's right. You know, like you said before, that in the second half we're going to be against this pretty strong wind, and they'll probably miss Ricky Stewart's kicking game a little bit there, but the way it's shaping up, I don't think we'll have any troubles putting 5 or 6 more tries on before this game's out.
No, it certainly looks that way. Only a smallish crowd here in Avignon today. Must be around the 5,000 mark. Not too many more, so the French team can't count on the crowd to get behind them and to boost them. Not as if they're giving up by any means yet. It's just that the Australians have been too good. Elias.
Well, they have to stop the Australians from getting the ball away in the tackles. You saw there, Benny had about 3 or 4 guys around him and almost got it away.
Steve Roach inside the French half now. Elias flicks it to Alexander. Mackay spinning around in the tackle. What a tremendous 12 months Brad Mackay has had. It's the 5th tackle as it goes out to Lyons. The torpedo pass for Daly puts him in space. Daly trying to draw them off Shearer, but Shearer hit hard and knocked into touch. Good tackle on the far side to end Dale Shearer's run. And that was a handover. Good tackle by Alain Bouzer on Shearer there. So that's a handover on the 6th tackle. Valero runs it forward quickly. What's Bob Fulton's tactics regarding kicking? Has he said run the ball rather than kick on the 5th? Anything like that or not?
He hasn't ruled out the opportunity to run the ball on the 5th if we're in a good position, and of course if the defence is a little bit bunched. But basically, he wants the ball put down the other end of the field if we're in our own half, or if we're in their half, it's nice to put the ball in the end goal so we can keep applying the pressure on them.
Australia 30 metres out after the French lost the ball. Now Lyons looms up a wide blindside, shows it to Meninga, gives it to Belcher. Belcher dummies, goes inside, but it's loose behind Alexander and Meninga, and picked up by Dive for France. And once more, Australia looking very dangerous down the blindside. Calvo puts his head down, leads with his headgear, but a high tackle against Australia. Montard wants a quick tap. The referee calls it back. The French player is down injured. What's his decision here? No, he still awards the penalty to France, but I think he's concerned about the injured player. Against a high tackle from Australia, Sirinen, one of the men in the tackle. Here's the incident again, as Sirinen coming in a little high. It looked to be a pretty solid ball and all tackle. I don't know.
It looked fair by me.
Yeah, it didn't look to be a swinging arm in there. A lot of shoulder from Paul Sirinen. I wonder how Ellery Hanley's feeling. He must still be suffering bruises from Sirinen's tackling in that third test.
Yeah, he walked into a few blinders from Zero.
Awesome tackling. Here's a replacement for France. I think it's Calvo leaving the field, and coming on was Marginet. Patrick Marginet on the field, and Calvo, Christian Calvo leaving the field. May have been Calvo who took that heavy knock from the Sirinen tackle. Fraz. On it goes from Molyneux. Out wide is Verde, intercepted by Shearer. The crisscross move from France not executed with the right timing. Mackay, 25 metres out. The replacement forward, Marginet, supposed to be a very useful player, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Eddinghausen comes away from the sideline, still going, has support out wide with numbers. Eddinghausen floats it over the top, and Laurie Daly seemed to me to be dragging a leg there. Maybe he just gave up on the pass, realised it was too far in front of him. Daly has been troubled by a hamstring strain. And Daly is standing on the wing on the far side. Where's Dale Shearer? Dale Shearer is in the centre, so I wonder whether Laurie Daly is carrying that leg injury once more. Frez. Roz is up in the line, but takes the tackle. In fact, that's Brett, I should say, the centre. And that is half-time. The clock actually showing 40 minutes and 48 seconds. And the half-time whistle goes with Australia leading by 26 points to 0. The two teams leaving the field after a half in which Australia did stretch the French defence for the most part. Could have scored another couple of tries. Only one or two burst from France, and really, Bob, Australia looked to be right on top.
Yeah, Warren, they were doing it pretty easy out there, and I think in the second half they'll just come out and concentrate on their defence and take the opportunities as they come if the French defence weakens.
So the scorers for Australia: Eddinghausen, Sirinen, Shearer and Alexander. 2 tries in that first half. Eddinghausen scoring in the 8th minute, Sirinen in the 12th. In the 21st minute, it was Dale Shearer, and then Alexander scoring in the 27th and 34th minute. Mal Meninga has kicked 1 from 3. Greg Alexander converted both his tries, 2 from 2, right in front of the posts. And looking at the scrums and penalties, the penalties have gone to France by 5-4, and the scrums to France by 7-3. Those statistics coming from a friend of mine, Michael Timone, from the Vince Farah Football Club, who's over here in France doing the work of the statistician's job for us today. So that's the situation here in France. Australia leading by 26 points to 0 at half-time as we hand you back to the studio.
Thanks very much, Warren. We'll rejoin you shortly. Michael, 26-0, your 40-point margin isn't looking too bad.
I think they'll probably exceed that, Steve. I think the French coach will probably be saying to his players now, you've got the win in the second half, and we're a big chance of winning this game. But I think he's kidding himself. I think that Australia should really romp home in the second half.
Well, it only took about 5 minutes for Australia to score their first try. It was Andrew Eddinghausen. Let's have another look at it.
Only 15 metres out. Australia right on the attack with Roach. Back inside to Sirinen. Sirinen charging through, just half a metre short. It's the 5th tackle. Elias a dummy half. Spins it out to Stewart. Long ball from Stewart. Beautiful hands from Meninga over the top. Daly with Shearer outside him. Daly still going. Back inside to Lyons. Has plenty of support. Elias is there. Flicks it out the back. It's the last tackle as they keep it alive. Magnificent hands out to Eddinghausen. Eddinghausen for the corner. What a try by Australia.
Some great hands there. Even Glenn Lazarus in the backs there with a quick flick on.
Yeah, it's very impressive, Glenn, and there's not much that he can't do. He's big, he's mobile, he tackles very strongly, he can step off both feet, and you saw him pass a beautiful ball to Andrew Ettinghausen. So, you know, he's quite an extraordinary player.
Well, that try was converted to make it 6-0, and Dale Shearer scored the third try, so the wingers sharing it around. Let's have a look at his.
Great ball by Dale. He just wanted to go.
Meninga held by one leg. Bounces to his feet, still going as Mal Meninga. Ettinghausen pulls it in. Great hands from Ettinghausen. Has Shearer inside. One winger to the other, and Shearer scores the try.
And so a lot of the play coming across to this side to Ettinghausen's wing, but Shearer did well to go looking for the work.
He did do very well, and he sensed that there was a try in the make and was over there, positioned himself very well. Andrew did the unselfish thing, passed the ball inside to Dale, and Dale will have very good memories of this ground because he scored 4 tries, in 1986 on this particular ground, the second test.
Stewart went off. I guess we can't be surprised. He's carrying a couple of injuries, and Alexander came on.
Yes, and he's taken his opportunity with both hands, hasn't he? He's already scored 2 tries and kicked a couple of goals, and I think he'll really make a fist of it.
Let's have a look at Alexander's first try.
In this position, only 15 metres out from their own line. Roach gets it away to Lyons. Lyons slips a magnificent ball to Meninga. Great football, Lyons. Now here's Mal Meninga. Has Ettinghausen outside him. Throws a dummy inside as Alexander. Alexander chased by Pons. Uses Belcher. Back to Alexander. And you just can't stop Greg Alexander scoring tries. 5 tries this week against France B. Now his...
Yes, great lead-up work from Belcher and Meninga, and Alexander having a field day and only half a half, so heaven knows what he'll do in the second 40 minutes. We're going to look back at the Great Britain part of the tour now, and Michael, were you surprised that Great Britain won that first test at Wembley?
I was at the time, but in hindsight, probably not so now. They've really worked on their game a lot over in England, and they've basically had the nucleus of that side there for the last 5 years, and they've learnt from mistakes against Australia in the past, and had a good win in '88, and then they backed that up with a good, back-to-back win at Wembley. So, they've got some world-class players, Hilary Hanley and little Andy Gregory, these sorts of players. They've been at the top of World Rugby League for quite a while. And on the other hand, we had Australia had some inexperienced players going into that first test. For example, Ricky Stewart playing at 5'8". So, I guess I really was surprised at the time, but looking back on it, maybe not so.
Well, the second test then, the Ashes were on the line when the Australians went to Old Trafford. Let's have a look at highlights of the second test.
They must be tired, both sides. Elias, Ettinghausen off the other wing. His first touch. Right on halfway. Stewart. Lyons wide. Lindner on the inside. They're trying to catch Great Britain out with inside passes because their defence, instead of moving up, tends to slide across the field. Lyons. Great pass to Stewart. Daly. Good ball. Great chance here. Shearer will get there. Great try. That was a terrific pass from Lyons to start it. In defence of the Ashes, the Australians get the first try. Atmosphere electric at Old Trafford. A gripping test match. This has been a great test. Schofield, the dummy. Dixon's got support. Dixon will score. Dixon wasn't tackled. Dixon gets a try that throws the test. The Ashes, everything on the line. Oh, it's erupted here.
40 metres away from Great Britain's line. Roach comes straight down the centre. Back to Elias. Stewart, quick hands to Lyons. Lyons at crossfield. Oh, what a good fend that was. As Lyons gets it away to Mackay. Mackay finds a bit of space for Shearer. Shearer back at crossfield. Out the back and it's picked up by Lyons again. Lyons on his own. Now Belcher
disagree. The Australians are arguing nobody had tackled Bob Lindner. He was entitled to get to his feet, so Hanley can't be penalised.
Oh, Lachlan, the intercept. Daly giving chase, but Lachlan will score. Lachlan has scored the try. That levels the scores. Almost no time left in the match. Stewart. Here it comes now to Lindner. We're well into injury time. 40 seconds, in fact, as it comes away to Stewart again. Stewart throws the dummy. Now Ricky Stewart's on his own. He's up to the halfway. He's waiting for Eddinghausen. He's got support. Eddinghausen with him. Back it goes to Meninga. And Meninga tries. Meninga scores. Oh, what a try. What a try. What a right from Stewart. And what a try. Meninga.
You can talk forever about that test, but in brief, Michael, I guess it's one of the best we'll ever see.
I think so. I think it'll be long remembered once we're dead and buried. I think that is just an all-time classic game.
So 1-1, and the Australians, to retain the Ashes, had to win the third test at Ellen Road. Let's have a look at this.
20 metres away. It's 13 on 12 as it comes to Lyons. Lyons' kick comes off a Great Britain player and Lazarus gets it back for Australia. It's 6 to go, just 20 metres out from Great Britain's line. Plenty of pressure here for Great Britain as Roach comes down the centre. He's only 9 metres away. Still Jonathan Davies can't get on the field. It's still 13 on 12. Australia come the open side through Stewart. Throws the dummy, floats it over the top for Eddinghausen. Eddinghausen will score. It's a try. What a great try. Andrew Eddinghausen. Superb pass from Ricky Stewart. He read that to perfection. Eddinghausen scores yet another try on this tour. Hampson looks to the touch judge. Dixon swears that Eddinghausen went into touch. But the try has been awarded.
Now, can they get their second try? Sheridan trying to keep his arms free. Eastwood flies over the top. 4 defenders needed to put him down. Elias for Stewart. Gary Schofield was close to getting the intercept. Now it's Australia, Meninga. Meninga will score under the post.
And so the Australians retain the Ashes, and they're ready for a restart in France as we go back to Warren Bowling.
And Sheridan quickly racing it back and bursting upfield is Paul Sheridan. Sheridan a great run. Gets the pass away to Mackay. Mackay downfield, out of one tackle. Has Cliff Lyons with him. Lyons right down the touchline, looks inside. Can't get the pass to Gillespie. The touch judge waving that there may have been a foot in touch as well there. But a great burst from Paul Sheridan from the kickoff.
Yes, well, it looks like Laurie Daly has come off the field and Des Hasler's gone on the wing.
So Hasler on the left wing and Shearer in the centres. Australia's ball from the scrum. Meninga bounces away from his opposite number. Out it goes now to Lyons. Lyons running away from everyone, but also the defence trying to turn them around. Back to Sheridan. Sheridan, a big fend on Tar. Roses comes in and wraps him up. Only 26 metres out now, right in centre field. Australia on the attack from the kickoff. Here's a big run from Lazarus onto Mackay. Mackay has Meninga at his shoulder, but couldn't get it away. Last-ditch tackle there from the centre, Brett. Australia on the attack once more. It's Gillespie for the line. Did he get it down? Gillespie waiting for the referee's decision, and he calls it a try. Awards the try. Steve Roach all smiles as David Gillespie, back in the test side, gets a reward for a determined run, crashing his way over in the corner.
Yeah, well, Steve Roach set it up here. There's heaps of space out on the blind head, on the wide side again. And Dale Shearer saw there was 2 against 1 on the inside, and David Gillespie just had to sort of crash his way over from there.
Gillespie, plenty of driving strength here from 2 metres out. Given a little bit of assistance from Dale Shearer to make sure he kept away from the sideline, from the corner flag, and Gillespie over. Not quite David Gillespie, it's actually Gillespie. So good football there from the Australians, working down the blind side where they've had plenty of success today. Shearer, the man, handing the last pass on the inside to Gillespie after the cutout pass from Roach. The attempted goal from Greg Alexander been unsuccessful. A very poor kick from Alexander. It happened just while we were watching the replay of that try. So Alexander shakes his head, but Australia lead by 30 points to 0. Alexander's perfect record with the boot. He'd put 15 over straight, finally comes to an end with his 16th attempt. 13 out of 13 midweek. 2 out of 2 in the first half. Gary Belcher. Away from on tar, but in comes Molyneux and holds Belcher just inside his own 22. Lazarus. The French have got Marc Tisser on the field, replacing Christian Calvo just before half-time. Here's Shearer. Shearer resenting the tackle, threw up an elbow in the direction of Biennes. And now France caught up inside the 5. Out in the centres, John Holdsworth going right across field, obviously determined to give the Australian backline room to move. Australia 30, France 0. Just 3 minutes into the second half, and Australia take the quick tap. Roach has plenty of numbers here. Lyons, Mackay's inside. Lyons back to Shearer now. Shearer pulled down by Ontar. Goes again, but out it goes to Roach. Belcher changes direction to Meninga. Elias, basketball dummy over the top. Faking is Benny Elias and still trying to scramble away from the tackle of Serge Tito. Mackay, up the middle he goes. Stepped away from one tackle, but Valero got him. 30 metres out, Roach. Gillespie, good ball onto Shearer. Shearer over the 22. Good tackle from behind by Ontar. Ontar is everywhere in defence. Must give him credit. Australia move it wide. Roach shows it to Sirinen. Sirinen on the burst. 5th tackle now, only 8 metres out. Lyons in a dummy half. Australia have plenty of men wide. Short passes. Alexander. Meninga. Belcher has his winger with him. Goes himself. Gary Belcher steps through with ease. Gary Belcher stepping off his right foot, left them grasping at air. And that's a great try by Belcher. Good hands inside to give him some room to move. He had his winger outside, drawing a little bit of defence away as well.
It's a terrible start to the second half by the Frenchmen. And as you can see here, as soon as someone puts on a step or a little bit of skill, they just can't handle it. There's Gary going over again.
The replacement, Tisser, Marc Tisser, grasping at the legs of Belcher as he came around behind the post. Once more, Steve Roach involved in moving the ball wide. Out it went here to Mal Meninga. He handed it on. Good passing across the Australian back line to Gary Belcher. Here's Greg Alexander. This is an easier attempt, only 5 metres to the right of the uprights. And the flags are up. 3 out of 4 to Alexander. And Australia, well, heading towards a huge score. They lead by 36 points to 0, and 70 points isn't out of the question.
Well, it seems that way. At the moment, the floodgates could really open here.
Is there anything France can do? Where would you start trying to contain the Australians?
Well, they've got to be more effective in their tackling. Guys are just dropping off tackles, or if they go in to make a tackle, they're allowing the ball to get past. So unless they stop that, they're no chance.
Here's Brad Mackay running the kick back. And you can see that the Australians are very hungry to score when you're in a position like this in a match with still a long way to go. 34 minutes remaining. Everyone wants to get his hands on the ball. Everyone wants to score tries. Elias switches it to Lyons. Cut out pass for Belcher. Mackay. Just short of the halfway line. A couple of metres from halfway. Alexander. Gillespie. Plenty of shoulder as Gillespie tries to fend off Fraze. But Rosé, the fullback, up there, and alongside him, Verde. Lazarus hurls himself at the line, crosses the halfway. Alexander away from dummy half. Inside, bouncing for Shearer. Shearer decides to kick. Well, there's a change of tactics from Australia. Will it bounce dead in goal? Very close to it. Coming through is Shearer, and it just beats Shearer and Cyril Pons into touch in goal. And that will come back to the 22 for a tap. Dale Shearer deciding to hoist it high.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad tactic with this wind against him. It would sit up there, and as you saw, it only just managed to roll over the dead ball. So
here's Daniel Divet trying to worry his way through the Australian defence, but Steve Roach blocks his path. Fraze Quick hands. On it goes. Oh, a big tackle as the pass goes on to Valero. But Brad Mackay, I think it was, coming in and really nailing Molinaire. Now the penalty going to France against the Australians as they're trying to rip the ball out in the tackle. Sirinen and Ben Elias in there. So Fraser will look for touch from just short of the halfway line. Useful kick with the breeze. Finds touch 27 metres out. I'm looking around me trying to get an interpretation of that penalty, but I'm seeing blank stares coming back at me.
No idea.
So France with a chance to set up the attack here. Here's Tisser. Mark Tisser, the replacement. On Tara dummy half. Molinaire down the blind side. Good run out. It goes to Pons, and Pons can't handle it. Meninga has the ball. There was nothing wrong with the pass to Pons. He had open space in front of him, though the cover was about to crunch him onto the touch line, but Pons in a good position there to at least give it a burst for the line. So Australia 12 metres out. Brad Mackay. Good pace, Mackay. Always making the metres forward the easy way, just simply before the line can move up. Roach has it on his fingertips. Was looking to quickly offload to Lyons, but held on. Molinaire all over the top of him. Elias, a little bit of sharp work out the back to Gillespie, onto Sirinen. And Molinaire throws a punch at Sirinen. Molinaire was headless as he let the right rip fly. No wonder he missed, because he couldn't see his target. Ontar also having a few words to say there. Here's the incident again.
Well, Ciro's obviously upset him somewhere here. And he certainly didn't take too kindly to Ciro trying to take his jumper off. And Wooshka just missed.
A big right-hander. Attempted punch. So Australia, with the penalty, come back to the halfway line with Elias. Alexander to Hasler. That may be Des Hasler's first touch of the ball since coming on at half-time in place of Laurie Daly. We've had 10 minutes in the second half as Roach steams forward. Australia 36, leading France 0. Alexander, Lyons, Sirinen up the middle. Sirinen, oh, he had his hands free, but Ontar blocked the pass. Elias, Alexander, Lyons goes across field. Shearer steps in and then goes back outside. Almost found the hole. Shearer's been hurt. Slowly to his feet, seemed to bend his back backwards in the tackle. Mackay collared from behind by Molinaire. They're roughing Mackay up a little. On the blind, Alexander kicks ahead, looking for Shearer and Eddinghausen. The ball's loose and it's play on with the centre. Dennis Biennes upfield, just short of the halfway.
Shearer there to get up the ground, make that tackle. He's in a fair amount of trouble with the leg and
Valero, Ontar, quick hands, on it goes to Tisser. He gets it back to Dive. Good hands, good work here from the French, and that gives the crowd something to cheer about. It was good football, good backing up. Ontar, Valero, Fraze goes ahead. Stepped inside Sirinen. Quick play the ball. Ontar keeps it going. Looking out wide. France after their first try as Roses is in from fullback. Only 5 metres short. Australia back on their line. It's intercepted by Gillespie. The pass from Ontar. Gillespie had moved up very quickly and it floated into his arms. So a pressure relief for Australia after the first real set of 6 put together by France. Some enterprising football there.
Yes, that Ontar's not a bad player, actually. I saw a bit of him over in England, and he's certainly been their best player out there today. It's a shame he threw that pass.
France has got the ball back here. Dive sends it on to Biennes, but he can't hang on to it. Pons is chasing it, but the referee will call it back. It was a good run from Biennes that started all of that momentum for France from his own 22. Good strong run down the left-hand side by Biennes. But that was what got France moving. But he couldn't hold on to the pass. in that particular movement. So the scrum to pack on the Australian 22. Alexander puts it in. Back it comes for Australia. Belcher up in the line. Bienz around his waist. Lyons taken by Bienz, but against Bienz not marking up right in front of the tackle player, moving away from the marker too early. So Ben Elias decides he's going to take the tap. Australia playing into the wind in this second half. Gillespie. Midway between the quarter and halfway. Lyons. Meninga. Meninga held by Ontar. Roach. Elias. Elias tackled from behind by Tito. Alexander now just short of halfway. Floats the pass out to Hasler. Hasler backs away from the touchline. He's still going away from Molinaire. Away from Divey. The pass goes to Lyons. Lyons has Belcher outside him. Belcher taken by Boozer. Inside of a flying Ettinghausen. And Ettinghausen will race away. Magnificent side, Andrew Ettinghausen in full flight. And that's a great try to Ettinghausen. Started on one side of the field by Des Hasler and then finishing with Andrew Ettinghausen racing away on the other side. What a magnificent side he is.
Certainly is, and there he is in full flight. The tail end of that movement, but Desi Hasler took it right across the other side of the field, and it was a great ball by Gary Belcher to feed E.T. for this try.
Hasler backing up Ettinghausen as he crosses for his second try. And Australia lead by 40 points to 0. 15 minutes into the second half, and Greg Alexander has a chance to add 2 more points from right in front. Doesn't muck around. The flags are up. Australia now 42 on the way to massacring France here in Avignon. So the French coming back to the halfway line. They're about to make a replacement on the touch line. Is Margenet, Patrick Margenet. And they're just calling for the replacements now. Margenet usually plays in the centres. And Jacques Jourda, the French coach, sends on Margenet now. And I'll just have to pick up the man who is leaving the field. It's number 3, the centre, Dennis Bienz. So Bienz is off and Margenet on in the centres.
I'm sure the boys are down there looking at that scoreboard now, thinking that that record's not too far out of sight at this stage.
And also, they have to equal the B team's score during the week, 78-6, and the B team boys celebrated that one for 36 hours. It could be the same in Avignon tonight if the A team can do just as well. Here's Sirinen. Elias to Roach. Changes it back inside to Lazarus, and these big fellas are enjoying this. Sirinen, poor pass, not picked up by Brett, who should have fallen on that ball. And luckily for him, Margenet has come up with it. Fraze. Molinaire. Only 26 metres out now, so France in another reasonable position to attack. Fraze goes across field, working it back to the blind side. Stands, gets it to Divey. He's taken from behind by Mackay. Down on the 22. Ontar, the run around with Valero, but it's been lost, and Elias comes up with it. One-arm pass onto Lyons. Australia attacking from their own territory once more. Here goes Meninga. Ettinghausen is inside. Ettinghausen could go all the way. He's still going. Andrew Ettinghausen turns it on, has support there, and Alexander's in for his 3rd try. What a burst from Andrew Ettinghausen. They looked to be closing in on him after he'd gone 30 metres. At about the 30-metre mark, Ettinghausen looked to be running out of room as 3 men came at him, but he looped the arm around. And we'll just look at this pass on to Alexander.
Yeah, sure. This is Brandy's 10th try in 3 days now, and He's certainly making a habit of scoring a few tries over here in France, but there was some good work in the lead-up play to that. France just can't hold on to the ball for more than a few tackles, and you know, they dropped it sort of 80 yards away from these down the track, and it was always on. Australia had the numbers all over the park, really.
Well, Greg Alexander, I'm sure he's not getting bored with scoring tries, but there's not much challenge in the attempts at goal he's been taking, because of the 13 the other night, 12 were virtually right in front, and it's been almost the same today, only 1 from out wide. This is right in front, and once more the yellow flags are raised to signal that Australia now lead by 48 points to 0, with still a long way to go in this game. 22 minutes remaining, and Greg Alexander has already totaled 22 points, coming on in place of Ricky Stuart, who left the field early in the match. There's some fine attacking play by the Australian backs. Tremendous backing up and sheer speed from the likes of Alexander and Eddinghausen, and a lot of the heavy work being done by the big forwards initially to get the French on the back foot.
Yeah, the forwards are making good ground. Straight up the middle. Nothing really fancy, but it's certainly being effective.
Well, a good kick from France there. Awkward bounce for Brad Mackay, who had it covered, but it went straight between his legs, and nothing they could do in the end to stop that one. So a useful kick-off. I think you've got to give some credit to the French kicker there rather than the Australians, who were positioned to cut it off. But it's an Australian scrum feed. Mackay has it. Just getting back to those big Australian forwards, Sirinen, Roach, Lazarus, they're all charging right up the middle, and that must be pulling the defence in, tending to grip it in the centre.
Yeah, there's heaps of holes just on the edge of the ruck, and it's making the outside backs come in to fill those holes up, and then they're spinning it wide and getting them outside.
Here's a French scrum win. Brett is down on the 22, looking for support. Should have been there. Molinaire goes behind a couple of his own men. No shepherd called as Divet tries to spin out of the tackle. 20 metres out. Tisser, quite a burly, robust build. He's only 18 metres out. Can France score their first try? Molinaire up the centre, who's looking for Valero. Play on with Roses. Out wide is Divet, flicks it up in the air. Roses again. Good football.
Great tackle by Gary Belcher there.
So just a metre or two out, Pons tries to bulldoze his way over. Back it comes for Valero. Tisser keeps Lyons at arm's length, and the same with Sirinen. But finally they hold him. Roach on top of him. It's the 5th tackle. Ontar loses it backwards, play on, puts a little kick ahead. Shearer's there to block the path. Ontar's kick not very well placed in the end. So just as Australia seemed to be about to be busted, the good tackle from Gary Belcher prevented France scoring their first try, but Hasler's now lost the ball early in the tackle count. So one more chance for France. And Greg Alexander is closing on Michael O'Connor's test record of 30 points. That was scored against Papua New Guinea in Wagga in 1988, when O'Connor got 30 points, 4 tries and 7 goals. So Greg Alexander now has 22 points. Alexander 3 tries and 5 goals, and he's got still 18 minutes to do it.
Looks like there's a few replacements on their way in. Mark Sargent and Mark Guy coming on for David Gillespie and Paul Sirinen.
Great games played by Gillespie and Sirinen, but Sargent and Guy will enjoy getting on the field. Serge Brett goes across field. I feel as if Brett has disrupted his back line more than been a positive asset out there today. Ontar to Divet. Divet was wearing headgear earlier in the game, but seems to have lost it. Tito, Valero, Ontar gets it on to Brett. Brett pushes away from Alexander, and the pass was on its way to Roses, who left it behind. And Roses was about to burst into open space. He hit the ball well on the burst. Here's Mark Sargent, first touch. 10 metres short of halfway, goes to Gaia. So if the Frenchman thought that with the 2 big solid men in Sheridan and Gillespie leaving the field, who would get any easier. That's not the case. There's plenty of size in Geyer and Sargent. Great ball from Lyons onto Mackay. Mackay over the halfway. Shearer's there. Shearer standing in the tackle. Hasler was outside him, but he couldn't get his arms free in time. Plays it ahead. Penalty against France. And we could have a man in the bin here, have we? No, it's just the penalty. Penalty because the player up inside the 5, making the tackle, had never retired the necessary 5 metres. And that was another try if Dale Shearer had had a 1/10 of a second to get his hands free. Hasler was outside him waiting for one more pass. Elias takes the tap. Alexander, Sargent. Sargent and Guy will be very keen to get into the action. Mackay, who's been a threat all day long. Only 12 metres out. Alexander, Lyons, holds it up for Alexander. Meninga, flat-footed. Eddinghausen got a shock, and the ball almost intercepted. The pass was on its way to Belcher. Lazarus with 5 more tackles up his sleeve, but he doesn't need any more tackles. Glenn Lazarus bursting into space. He had 6 tackles up his sleeve as a signal from the referee.
He's pretty happy about that.
And yeah, Glenn Lazarus does look pretty happy about it.
Yeah, well, once again, Australia on the attack, and another error from the Frenchman, really. What was it? An intercept, wasn't it? Why not?
Yeah, a hand came up in the air from, who was it now? It was Margenet from France. Got a touch on it to give them 6 more tackles.
They couldn't recover, and Glenn Lazarus just barged his way through a few tackles under the post.
I think Lazarus, like any front row, once he found himself in the clear, started to look around for support and suddenly realised there was no one in front and he only had 15 metres to go. And that's the other thing about all the Australian forwards. While they're big, they have plenty of mobility. There's Lazarus. Here's Alexander. Alexander closes on that record with 2 more points. It's Australia 52, France 0. So it's just, I should say that's 54-0 now. 54-0 with that conversion. So it's just a question of mathematics. Of course, most of the tourists and the media over here and the officials have all been having a bit of trouble with their French counting up the bill and so on, and ordering what they want. But the only problem for France at the moment on the field is looking at that scoreboard mounting. 54-0. Still 15 minutes to go. Lyons. If Lyons decides to have a run away from Margenet. 20 metres out. Geyer. Geyer, a very tall man. Playing his 8th game of the tour now as Mark Geyer. There's Hasler, pulled down, 32 metres out. Elias at dummy half. Alexander, they swing it wide. Lyons, Meninga, Belcher looms up. On it goes to Eddinghausen, but it was a poor pass from Gary Belcher. Didn't really have a look, just sent it on its way hoping, and it was nowhere near Eddinghausen, who had no one in front of him. Laurie Daly replaced at half-time in this match. He's only got through, well, 5.5 games. Here's Cyril Pons joining in on the open side of the scrum. Greg Alexander is actually playing his 16th match, named as a reserve in 7 of them. Pons fighting to get to his feet. Valero. Verde. Tisser. Held by Mackay. On the Australian 22. Tisser has a few words with Roach. As Mal Meninga comes over the top to make the tackle. Played back by Valero. On Tar. Dive trying to get away from Elias, and he's done it. Gets a pass away to Fraze, and Fraze scores France's first try. Good try it was too. Dive handing the pass off.
Dive broke through there. There's a little misunderstanding between Benny Elias and Greg Alexander in defence, and he showed a bit of pace and some good ball skills there, and over they go for their first try. Divey was their best player in Parks a few months ago. He's got a bit of ability.
So France break their duck. It's 54-4 with the kick to come. 5'8" David Fraze scoring the try. He's from Carcassonne. Often plays at fullback, playing at 5'8" today. And that was good football, but at the same time, Benny Elias did seem to let Divey get away from him, and I just wondered whether Elias found himself in a bit of trouble with that rib cartilage, that maybe he looked as if he didn't really want to grab too hard for the tackle. And Divey got around him quite easily. May have been, as you say, something of a misunderstanding between the two players in defence as well. So the conversion attempt to be taken from out very wide. And the attempt taken, waved away though. So the kick missed. A difficult position there. And the score remains 54-4. That was Michel Roses, the fullback, missing the kick. Difficult angle. Didn't really hit it all well off the ball. 54-4, 11 minutes remaining in this test match. You can see an Australian flag flying on the far side alongside the French flag as Alexander kicks deep into the wind. France inside their own quarter with Marginet. And the tempo of the game just starting to slow down a little now as Molinaire brings it forward. He's probably the most experienced player on the field, is Jacques Molinaire. Tisser, who's been busy since coming on as a replacement. Verde hits the line, but sandwiched between Geyer and Mackay. And Mackay taking a knock on the ribs there. Knocked the wind out of him. They work the blind side on Tar. Tar slipping underneath the tackle as he had the ends, or Brett it was, on the burst. Geyer flies through the air trying to get to Fraze to prevent the kick. Shearer quickly on to Lyons. Here comes Belcher looming up as well. Gives it to Meninga. Meninga trying to burst away from Divey. Molinaire and Divey hold him. Eddinghausen. Shearer. Elias. They've done better to give the pass in the end. Sargent ready to go. Sarge gets the ball. Up the centre he goes. Good run from Mark Sargent. 10 metres inside the French territory. Geyer. Geyer still going, but loses the ball. Had it ripped out of his arms by Fraze in the tackle. Regathered it, but the referee will play the knock-on. Well, the momentum has just gone out of the game at the moment for Australia, Bob.
Yeah, it must be hard for them to keep motivated to keep playing when you look at the scoreboard. It's 54 points to 4. There's only 10 minutes to go. But their defence has been pretty good. There's been a few lapses, but apart from that, they've been solid, and France have been fairly frustrated in trying to break it. But, overall, it's been a fair effort.
Here's Divey getting it inside to Tisser, but the ball's been intercepted by Lazarus. Divey starting to run strongly on the edge of the ruck in this latter part of the game. But France spoiling the chance, and a good run there by Lazarus. Quickly they take it forward. Out it goes to Belcher. Out the back to Shearer. Intercepted though by Marginet. So a little bit of fancy football from Australia. Just a little loose, a little too flash. And that being lost on the first tackle. Tutel getting it away after a bulldozing run. And Steve Roach just places his knee on Marginet's spine. The play the ball. Ontar works the blind side out to Pons. Pons have wrestled to the ground by Lyons. 54-4. 8 minutes play remaining in the first test. Pons having difficulty getting to his feet. It's hurt his left leg. Fraze. Can't get away from Mackay. Verde on the edge of the ruck, trying to slip it away to Rosas. Verde on Tar. Little kick through for Tisser, but it's well read by Elias. Out the back to Belcher. Belcher sets sail upfield. He's got Eddinghausen outside him. Inside is Lyons. Lyons has plenty of men there too. Belcher opening up the gap on the inside, and Belcher dummies his way to the line. Great try from Australia from their own side of halfway. Opening up the French attack, the French defence there. Once more, just superb football from Australia.
Yeah, we see Gary come up with a few nice dummies here, but once again, we had Australians to the right and left of him, and the French defence had no idea, and we see Pons in the background just totally given up on the whole thing.
There's Belcher scooting in for his second try. It's turning into a feast for the backs. Eddinghausen 2 tries. Shearer 1, Alexander 3, Belcher 2, and a few of the forwards chiming in with 1 each, Sirinen, Gillespie and Lazarus. And Greg Alexander with another shot for 2 more points, with Australia leading 58-4. Can he make it 60? Yes. Alexander once more just nudges it over from right in front, and Australia 60 lead France 4. There's 6 minutes remaining. Still time for a couple more tries. But, in tries like this from Australia, it's pretty hard to decide who to give the credit to. There's so much outstanding ball handling and speed coming into it.
That's right. Every try, it's gone through about 6 or 7 pairs of hands, and normally ended up in the hands of some pretty fast men to put it under the post.
Belcher well and truly involved at the beginning and end of that last try. So France comes slowly back to halfway, and Cyril Pons is limping towards the touchline. I don't think he's been replaced as yet, but it won't be long. Geyer. This would be Mark Geyer's first test match, wouldn't it? First
That's right.
Test appearance for Mark Geyer. He'd be very proud of this moment for him here at Avignon. Sargent gets it to halfway. Dive on the wrong end of the bustling run from Sargent. Here's Geyer. Couldn't find anyone in support on the blind side as he managed to get his head through the front line. 5 metres in French territory. Elias down the blind side to Lazarus. There was nowhere to go, but Lazarus is still going. Dragging them with him. Geyer. Lyons decides to put the kick through. Shearer was coming through on the burst, handballs it back. The penalty has gone against the French, I believe. No, it is against Dale Shearer. Against Dale Shearer, must have been in front of the kicker. And now the kick down to downfield. Shearer trying to get back. Will he manage to regather it? It rolls into his hands. A poor kick for touch, and Shearer manages to regather it after originally conceding the penalty. But he's lost it now. Not good football from Dale Shearer, and his try-hungry mates probably wouldn't appreciate it. Ontar swings it wide. Molinaire. Brett taken low by Lazarus. Dive goes the blind. Once more it's Lazarus taking him. Lazarus non-stop working for 80 minutes. Valero. And France score a second try. Only 15 metres out. Tisser charges at Mackay. Gets it to within 10 metres. Ontar. Out it goes to Dive. Dive heading for the line. Tries to slip it away to Rosas, but the ball's gone loose, and Mal Meninga's dived on it for Australia. So once more, the half chance for France. The last pass going astray. And Australia should be able to work it away from their line now. The game ticking down towards the end, but Australia leading by 56 points. There are a lot of bets going on around the place yesterday as to what would be the winning margin. And the people who went towards the adventurous end of things look like they're going to collect the money. The ball slipped around the back here to Lyons. It was a good ball from Roach. Geyer finally knocked over as he was trying to link up with these fast men outside. Lyons holding the ball in front of him, just trying to mesmerise the defence. The fullback's up there in the line, but Ontar has dropped back. Alexander again tries a little dummy kick. On it goes to Sargent. Sargent turns on some pace. The front row is still going. Sargent, Mark Sargent pulling away down the line, but the pass inside looking for Meninga. Intercepted by Tisser. Now here's a sight as Tisser goes back up the line. He is a burly sight. Carrying a lot of size up top. He's played pretty well, Tisser, since coming on. Here's a good run from Ontar. He runs into the referee. Play on, though. Pass on the ground. Brett was there trying to get it. And we've got Buscarol on the field for France. Quickly they move it wide. Brett sends out to Fraze. Fraze is still going, Fraze. On it goes to Dive. Dive charging through the last tackle. Shearer hangs on. Brett spinning around. Dive looking for the second try. On it goes to Valero. He's pulled down just a metre short. Quick play the ball needed by France. They've got plenty of numbers on the left-hand side. Ontar moves it that way. Roses, long ball. Out there is Magenet. Inside to Molinaire. Molinaire to Verde. Can they get the try they're looking for? Here's Tisser. Tisser on it goes to Verde once more. So good football by France. It's the fifth tackle now. They're still only a metre out. The Australian defence is set now, though. Valero makes nothing of the last tackle. Well, that's a frustrating end. Molinaire, in disgust, shakes his arms in the air, throws them up in the air and says, well, why didn't we use it on the last tackle? And that is full time. So the referee is compensated for going too long in the first half by blowing it up with 39 minutes and 39 seconds showing on the clock for the second half. So one way or the other, we've got exactly 80 minutes and the full-time score. Australia 60, France 4. Well, what can we say? But I guess France simply outclassed and the Australians an exhibition of skill.
Yeah, it was a fine display, really, considering you know, that the conditions and Australia controlled the ball pretty well. There was always a tendency to throw a silly ball on occasions, but that happens when the defence was like it was today. As far as the defensive effort of Australia goes, I thought it was terrific. They were put under pressure on a number of occasions, and they held nice and tight. France got in for one try, and I mean, I think everyone will be probably pretty happy with that effort.
So looking at those try scorers for Australia, Eddinghausen 2 tries, Sirinen and Shearer 1 each, Alexander 3 tries, Gillespie and Lazarus also scoring 1 try each, and Gary Belcher 2 tries. So just running back through that, the top scorers, Alexander 3 tries, Belcher and Eddinghausen 2 each, and 1 each to Sirinen, Shearer, Gillespie and Lazarus. So all in all, a comprehensive performance by Australia. They've scored 11 tries in the match. Mal Meninga kicked 1 goal from 3 attempts. Greg Alexander 7 goals from 8 attempts. Only one of them wasn't in front of the post. That was the one he missed. And Alexander totaling 26 points for the match. Australia 60, France 4. The scrums ended up going to France by 11-4. The penalties went to Australia by 8-7. Bobby Lindner, let's hope your thigh muscle recovers quickly and you will at least be available for selection in the second test.
Well, I hope that's the case. I'll certainly be working on it, trying to get there for the second test. But, you know, France, they've really got to go back to the drawing board, don't they? I'd hate to be in their position having a look at the final result today. I don't know where they're going to turn for their team next week.
Well, they were unlucky in one sense today that a number of their experienced players have retired recently and a few more were out injured, so maybe a couple of those players can come back in. Thanks again to Wayne Hemming and Michael Timone for supplying us with some statistical help today. That's all from Avignon Stadium, the Parc des Sports here with Australia triumphant in the first test by 60 points to 4.
Thanks very much to Warren and Bob Lindner and Michael. You're not such a great judge. What happened to that 40 points? 60-4 in the end.
20 short, but it was a very entertaining game. I enjoyed it. I thought, you know, it was great to see the athleticism of Alexander and Eddinghausen players like that. I thought it was, you know, it was an entertaining game. There was some good try scoring.
Difficult for the Australians to maintain a sort of defensive commitment in a game like that. They did that pretty well.
I thought they did, and right at the end there, they were under a lot of pressure. 12 consecutive tackles, and they kept them out. There was really the game was well and truly over. They weren't playing for anything at that stage, and they showed a lot of discipline, I thought.
You played in a few games like that, say against New Guinea or against France. Are they difficult to play in?
They are. It's often difficult to play against a side that's not very organised in defence. You tend to, and you saw in that game there that players are running into players, into referees, etc., and that happens. But you know, I think that France really are going to have to do some soul searching between now and next week, because I don't think that they're going to be able to make any great impression on this Australian side. They've been together for so long now. They have a very good understanding, and they just look to be too big and too powerful.
Yeah, and the French missing some key players. Let's just recap the scorers for you in this mammoth score of 60-4. So Eddinghausen 2 and Alexander 3, Belcher 2. They were the main try scorers. Meninga 1 from 3, Alexander 7 from 8. He's just having a wonderful time in France. And it was good to see the French get a try. It was a good one too for Fraisse and Rosé, not able to land the single conversion attempt. So 60-4. Any thoughts about the Australians? Obviously no need to make changes. Perhaps Bobby Lindner will be fit next week.
No, I think probably what Fulton will do, if there's any injury clouds over players, I think he'll give players such as Alexander a run. They deserve it. As I said before the game, they have played outstandingly. Sargent's another one. And just rest the players, because really I don't think France are going to be a threat next week. And I think that the players who have been the fringe players, who have been unlucky not to be picked, should be given an opportunity.
Thanks very much, Michael. I hope to see you next week.
Thank you.
Well, Stewart went off early, obviously either with an injury or perhaps just giving Alexander a big go because he scored 40-odd points in a game during the week, so perhaps he'll get a full game next week. The next test is in Perpignan at the same time next week, so we hope you can join us then. It's been a pleasure to bring this one to you. And Mike O'Connor back with us next week, and we'll bring you the second test from Perpignan, same time next Sunday night. Steve Rebillard on behalf of ABC Sport, bye for now.
ABC Books is proud to present the first edition of the ABC Australian Cricket Almanac. The Almanac provides detailed coverage of Australian cricket at all levels, from international and Sheffield Shield to women's, grade and schoolboy cricket. This unique cricketing companion contains a wealth of statistics and other facts. It names the Australian Players of the Year and features a thought-provoking foreword by Sir Donald Bradman on the state of the game in the 90s. The 1990 ABC Australian Cricket Almanac is available at ABC shops, bookstores or by mail order.
Well, that brings our programmes to a close for this evening. But before we go, let's have a look at Monday night's viewing on ABC. At 8, Richard Bryars and Felicity Kendall star in The Good Life. Jeffrey Robertson is joined by guests including Faye Weldon and Michael Day to examine the issues raised by the Salman Rushdie affair. Satanic Scenario, our hypothetical at 8:30. At 9:30, Hewell Bennett stars in The Return of Shelley, before the big match, ABC News Late Edition and Review. That's all tonight on ABC. Remember, you can listen to ABC Radio throughout the night. But on behalf of all of us here at ABC Television, this is Deirdre Brennan, wishing you a very good night.